All right, we are live. Just sharing this with my community in case if you want to jump in. Here is the link, and we're going to be discussing about emotional agility. And this is a call where right. This is an episode. Okay, I'm loud and clear. All right. This is a series where we are experimenting with emotional intelligence using brain skills. And let's see what we have got for today. Officially, we are on 81st episode, and we're going to be talking about emotional intelligence in leadership roles. So this is not essentially only for people working. It is also for those who are on entrepreneurship journey where they are naturally leaders in what they do. Of course, as a parent, we're also leading a family and the next generation. So we are bound to be responsible in what we're doing. In essence, in the day and age where we are extremely surrounded with a lot of toxicity that we may not be aware of it, we are still not be able to realize it unless it hits us hard. So any walks of life, any gender, any age, I think emotional intelligence is very, very important. And one of the key skill set under emotional intelligence is emotional agility. So this entire series, we are looking at how to develop those key skills under emotional intelligence, where we are touching upon the brain power within us. So we are essentially calling this as brain talents or brain skills. So if you pick up these 18 specific brain talents and work upon it, you're essentially working on both the sides of your brain. That is, both your logic brain and your creative brain together. And when you're finding that convergence happening, that when you're operating in midbrain, which is where a blend of both the logic data and the emotional data is taken into consideration, is when you are highly emotionally intelligent. And emotional intelligence is the 21st century, demanded skill set that is needed for everybody. Whether you're a student who's watching this, I've got a couple of students who asked me questions. That's when I, restructured this messaging differently for the series, because initially I started off for dedicating this entire series to moms. But then I realized that even there are different walks of people who are watching this, because it is going out for entire public, entire world. So in essence, we have been looking at key skill sets starting from resilience, creativity, problem solving, proactivity, emotional insights, now emotional agility. In between, we have done quite a lot of other key talents. So we're going to be completing another 19 more episodes to complete the 100-day series. So I'm so thankful that you are with me. If not during the live, you would definitely will be watching the recording. It's going to be there for quite some time, unless I want to put this entire bundle into a different, playlist or, inside my community. Until such time, it is out there for everybody to view it. In fact, I've got a lot of gifts. If you just hang in till the end of this episode, you will find it. And this is the format where I'm going deeper and wider using presentation. And there's also a podcast which I will be doing on each and every episode. So it's a very short version, on the fly, on the go. The same brain hacks will be repeated there. So it'll be easy for if you kind of want, you're working in the kitchen, or you're working, you're traveling, you just want to hear it. The same 100 episodes are available in Spotify as a podcast. So that being said, my name is Brita Kalyan Raman, and you are watching this EQ, MQ, academy related stuffs, where we will be discussing about skill set, what you want to increase, how you want to increase your brain power to be able to automate your life and your business. So I will be teaching tools of emotional intelligence, AI generated tools inside emotional intelligence, because it is just not the theory, but we will also be getting into some assessment reports, and we will have concrete data to talk about you as a person. So when you know the brain style that you are, identified with, then when you know your key brain talents already in you, we're just going to tap into those other things which is not available. So just as an area of improvement, we will be aligning ourselves together to be able to derive your goals. When you know your strength and your areas of improvement, there, when you set your goals, then it'll be a solid pathway for you. Okay, so we're going to be doing this as a workshop also, and it's going to be a gift for a woman out there who's watching this episode. This entire month, it's going to be available free of cost. I'll tell you exactly what you need to do to be able to avail those gifts. And also, you will learn the next series, and even this workshop will tell you how to automate your business in case you're running your business from home, digitally, or outside. As long as you have a digital presence, I'll tell you exactly how you can digitalize your business and work from home to be able to monetize your knowledge and expertise. Okay, with that, we'll be getting into today's episode. I'm going to be sharing my presentation. Let's see what we've got for today. Emotional agility for leadership. If you are a person who is, um, you know, you're affected by your emotions, it just takes you for a ride, and especially when you're working under pressure. All of us do, right? At some point of time, whether it is at work or in personal life, when the crisis hits, we generally go off the radar, right? So that is why it is very important to equip yourself with this kind of a brain skills, which is going to come to your rescue to be able to make you stay calm, confident, and especially during pressure times. As a leader, we will be dealing with a lot of heated situations, crisis, and we should be able to know how to navigate this challenge. Okay. On that note, if you are having a leadership ability, and if you're a leader in your community, in your work, in your family, then this episode is for you, where you're going to learn how to stay composed when you're taking high stake decisions, and how to turn challenges into opportunities, and how to communicate with empathy and authority. So empathy is your right brain. Authority comes with some command in what you want to say. So it's going to be a both the brain activity. So we will be discussing about brain hacks, which will not only tell you the left brain hacks and the right brain hacks, and also the mid brain hacks. You as a person could be logically driven, more of a left brain style person. Somebody could be a right brain style person. The creativity and the emotional aspect will be higher than the other. Somebody could be taking a blend of both and still be confused. Am I still be, am I really worth and all that? So we're going to give you tools for you to do a self-assessment yourself also to understand where you stand. Okay. All of it coming to you. If you just hang in, you will exactly know what you're supposed to do. So we're going to see each and every episode, we're going to see bifurcate as to how emotional agility happens in your brain. How does your left brain helps you, and how do you how you can take the use of your right brain. Okay. So the ability to stay emotionally balanced and make clear decisions under pressure is the first understanding that you need to get what is emotional agility. So the key words are staying emotionally balanced and making clear decisions under pressure. Now the purpose of this, why do you need this, and how does it help? It helps leaders to navigate uncertainty and inspire trust in their organization. Now, the key word here is leaders to be able to navigate uncertainty. Uncertainty is an unknown thing, right? Everybody gets jittered. When there is a change itself, we all, nobody likes change. We get anxious about any changes, right? Whether it is a child or an adult, we don't like to change. Our brain will not, understand the need of it unless and until there is a certain sense of urgency or there is a crisis we are pushed to do. Otherwise, we will not act on it, right? On that note, you're working in uncertainty voluntarily, maybe because you have a duty towards that, or you're working in an organization where you need to take that initiative, or as an entrepreneur, sometimes you need to adapt to a new technology, new market, new situation, new partnership, new team. It could be anything which is unknown yet you will be able to navigate it also. So how we're going to do that is using this skill, and then inspiring trust. So this particular thing comes from your emotional brain. Now, why would you need to inspire trust? First of all, why trust is needed in anything and everything you do? Apart from yourself, we're all interacting with people, whether you like it or not, whether you realize it or not, whether it's school or family or work or community, or even when you're, walking down the lane and you're like going for a shopping, you see people, you interact with them, right? Taxi drivers, auto drivers, Uber drivers. So, and then, wherever you see your associations. So we need to be able to build that trust also. How do you do that? Only when that emotional brain is actually activated. And, scientifically, both these brains are very much activated in each of the individual. It's just that how much of this brain stress that we are using effectively defines that kind of a person we are. concrete data point where you can see actually, and then you will be able to identify which brain style you are falling into. Then it is easier for you to adapt. So the impact of it, if you have this, it's going to enable you to be calm, confident, communicative, and even in stressful situations. Okay. So now there are two approaches to build this emotional agility. Okay. Your left brain is going to help you analyze situations logically without emotional bias. It also encourages structured thinking for conflicts and leadership challenges. Then your right brain is going to approach you, helping empathy and emotional awareness together, enabling calm communication in stressful situations. You see, each of these brain has its own functionality. If only you allow it, if only you're aware of it, what is happening. So when you're doing the series, when you're watching the series, I must have insisted on a lot of things very repetitively, because that is very important to imbibe that and also start noticing the keywords. Okay. By now, you know exactly how your left brain works, what are the keywords, what is the key functionality, and your right brain works. And then the midbrain also. If you're new, you're watching the series, very new, give me a hi, hello in the chat. And if you have any questions, you can ask me. Just gonna open up the chat. And in case you are yet to watch those previous episodes, I would highly recommend you to do so, so you can connect the dots, right? And let's see what's the other side of, okay. Now, so the key message here is great leaders don't react. Okay. So they just respond, and emotional agility helps those leaders to stay clear head. That is so very true, right? Because it is very important to have that. Um, just a second. In case, okay, somebody's saying a hi. Hi, Gayatri. Welcome to this show. And we are dealing with emotional agility. In case you have any questions, drop in the chat. I'll be able to respond to you. So great leaders don't react, they respond. And emotional agility helps the leaders to stay clear-headed, adapting to challenges and leading with impact. So react, emotional, impulsive, and often regrettable. Pause, creating space between stimulus and response. Responding is thoughtful, measured, and effective. We don't want to be reactive. Instead, we want to pause and respond. Okay, super. Thanks, Gayatri. I'm audible. Thank you. All right. So the benefit of you being emotional agile is because you need to be able to take those decisions very clearly and confidently. Leaders have to make clear decisions under pressure and improved team dynamics. Team shows higher motivation, trust, and collaboration. Crisis navigations. When leaders can handle challenges without any emotional burnout, that is more important for their self-being, well-being, right? And when the team members look at their way they handle, challenges, that is what is going to help them maintain the team morale also. Suppose you are panicking as a leader, the same panic will spread over to your team also. And then adaptability. Organization innovate in changing business environments, and it is the leader's responsibility to be able to adapt first person, and then be able to communicate that to their cascaded to their next level people. So it is those leaders who take that initiatives, volunteer to be able to adapt. So for that, you should be able to be agile, active, proactive, plan, take initiative, and be emotionally balanced. So the cost of if you don't have this emotional ability in you, agility in you, you're going to be becoming very rigid, right? So in which case you're going to react. Emotional outburst damages workplace culture and relationship when you do that, and it's going to, you're going to avoid the conflict. And when you avoid it, leaders struggle with the difficult conversations and team conflict. So it's only going to pile up. So you need to face head on, that too with transparency and with a kind of empathy in you. You're not just going to burn the bridges, right? You're going to build the organization. So you hold a very unique responsibility. So burnout increases stress when facing leadership pressure. As a person, whenever there is a crisis, we go through some pressure. And as a leader, you're also topping up your team responsibilities. So it is a coupled, responsibilities. In which case, if you also react impulsively, it's going to be a exhaustion for you. And poor decisions, fear-based choices lead to suboptimal outcomes. In that case, when you are under pressure, your your clarity of your mind and the way that you want to focus on details will be totally absent. So you need to have that balance to be able to take that kind of a right decisions. Otherwise, it's going to have a other consequences. So the impact of emotional agility in leadership is higher engagement if you have it. Leaders with emotional agility see better employee engagement and they are able to take better choices because their decision making skills get better. The more the leaders, I recently had I'm a big fan of Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Ratan Tata. So I take a case study in the series. If you have been watching me doing the series, there is also a case study in which we will be talking about a personality across the globe, whoever is famous, so that we can relate to it and how their brain skills have helped them. So how have they been successful? So I always intrigued to understand what is their brain power in it when they take a decision, what kind of brain styles they would be doing. So I would have done a good amount of case study for each and every episode because each and every episode is angled towards different kind of people. For example, yesterday we were talking about emotional agility for entrepreneurs, and the previous day we spoke about parents, and now we are talking about leaders. But tomorrow it could be a different angle, right? For each and every episode, that personality could be exhibiting some brain skills. So we're going to be seeing a different case study today. Just hang in there. But what I'm saying is better decisions. It helps the leaders to take better decisions. Improved decision making skill according to Harvard Business Review. Overall, the team performance gets increased 2x. Okay. The cost of emotional reactivity. Suppose you don't have this emotional agility in you as a leader. It's going to cost you what? Loss of trust. A CEO reacts to you angrily during a crisis. We have seen this, right? It's a normal scene. That only loses the trust of employees and investors also. Sometimes the projects could go off the radar because of the leadership. The team disengagement. Employees disconnect when the leaders lack emotional control. Nobody likes, right? Nobody likes. Even your own children may be confused in what to expect from you. If you are a person who panic, who reacts most of the time, your own family members will not know what to expect from you. You lose the trust. They're not going to listen to you because you're not clear. Because you are under pressure, it gets overwhelmed. So you need to be able to build those things. And poor decisions, because of which your impulsive choices may appear that it is coming out of fear and frustration, which can harm the organization in turn. It could be your own business, it could be your own family, it could be your own associations, or it could be the one which you're working for. So the power of emotional agility is to maintain composure. A manager who can stay calm during layoffs. Sometimes layoff could be very, very critical, right? Not only for the employee, obviously, for the one who's been laid off, and also for the person who's communicating it. And then inspiring teams, emotionally agile leaders create psychological safety in teams. Confident decisions, leaders make sound choices even when tough situations occur. So that's the power of being emotionally agile. So who's going to be benefited from emotional agility? CEOs, founders, managers, politicians, public figures, community leaders, educators. You see, everybody needs this. According to Forbes, professionals with high emotional agility are 40% more likely to get promotion job growth opportunity. Now let's get into a most interesting concept where we're going to be talking about its application and brain hacks together. Okay. So now we spoke about emotional agility, the cons and pros, the advantages. Now we'll see where as a leader can you apply this. And then there is a brain hack for everything. Okay. Handling workplace conflicts. This is more common. And how do you do that when you have this emotional agility? You're going to recognize emotions first of all because we are talking about critical situations. Okay, that's where you're going to have this agility coming in place, emotional agility coming in place. When there's a situation which is normal, you don't have to really activate it, but you can still be aware of what's happening around you, what kind of emotions you are sharing or your employees are sharing. But when there is an unknown situation, when there is a critical situation where you need to be very responsible in terms of your responses, you need to acknowledge feelings without being controlled by them, both within yourself and with others. I always say emotional intelligence is always two components. If you have been listening to this episode from the beginning, you will by now know there are two aspects to emotional intelligence. It is not only being emotionally intelligent towards others, empathizing with others or taking care of others. It is also about how you are within yourself. What are kind of emotions that you go through? How much are you aware of it? And what is the effect of those emotions in you so that you'll be able to read the same in others? Okay. Then you have to listen to them. because it is a critical situations. Suppose you have your customer just, a very frustrated customer walking in and exploding. All you have to do is first recognize and acknowledge them. You're going to welcome them, right? You're going to greet them first. Maybe, find a space for them to sit, calm down, offer them some glass of water, and then you're going to ask them, what's the problem statement, right? You're going to listen to them fully. Suppose you are not doing so, you just, as and when they walk in with some frustration, you just going to bang on to them. It's going to ruin. Similarly, at workplace, it is essential for you to first acknowledge the emotions with the employees and to be able to listen without interruption, then respond thoughtfully. Okay. And then be able to mediate fairly. Very, very important. Address disputes between employees without taking sides. As a leader, neutral perspective is always important. You make sure that you don't fall into any favoritism. Okay. And ensure resolution. Follow through to create lasting resolutions. Very, very important. Both the sides. It is very important to be able to follow through and make sure that resolution is brought in effectively. Closure is very important for a leader. And how do you do this? Using the brain hack. Okay. I'm going to give you a shortcut using your brain skills. How do you do this? Remember this: pause, process, and progress. Okay. When faced with challenging situations, there is a 3-step approach that you can take as a leader. First is pause. Take a moment to breathe. Create that space between the trigger and your response. Okay. You're listening and you're supposed to respond. Just take a pause. It's okay to, totally, take a deep breath or just count backwards few numbers. They will not know. Nobody has to know. All these are mindfulness pause. Okay. In my community, these are the strategies that we will be dealing with, because it is essential not just for at a workplace. It is also essential as an entrepreneur, as a parent. Every time you deal with some crisis, you should not wait for the crisis time. In fact, it has to be a daily practice. That is why in my community, there is something called resilience building, where we will club all these activities for 21 days. Okay. So I'll let you know about that. And then in the process of doing so, you're going to reflect on the feedback or situation objectively. Objectively meaning you're going to take that blend of both the left brain and the right brain data, that emotional data coming from the employees. You cannot discard it. If there is a frustration, you're going to take that data. Yes, he or she is frustrated. And what is it telling you? And then he could be frustrated because of this. There is a logical derivation. So both together, you're going to objectively approach. If you leave either of it, if you only have, okay, as a company, as a policy, this is what it is. I don't care whether they're frustrated or not. If this is going to be the approach, you're going to be one-sided. It's going to affect it. So consider different perspectives and underlying emotions at play. And then progress. So you're going to transform that experience into an opportunity for personal and professional growth. Use those insights to improve future interactions. This method strengthens emotional agility, creating intentional responses rather than automatic responses. Now, the second situation, and there is a brain hack attached to it. When making high-stake decisions, how can you display emotional agility? Pause. Create space before reacting. Then process. Evaluate options calmly. Now, for you to take a decisions, you may be having options. From there only you're going to pick up. If you don't have options, will you think that decision is really good? Suppose you wanting to choose a mobile phone, right? You walk into a store. Suppose they only have one kind of a phone. Do you think you have taken a good decision? No, unless you're very clear this is what you want, and then you've done your research and then walking to that store to pick this up. Most of us don't have that kind of a decision making every time for everything. So you're going to evaluate options calmly. And then you're going to plan, take that calculated risk. I've done an exclusive series for, a few episodes on risk taking itself. I just completed risk tolerance and I have come to emotional agility. I want you to go through that previous episodes. If you're an entrepreneur, pick up that episode for entrepreneurs. If you're a working person, pick that up. If you're a parent, pick that up and see what kind of hacks are given there. And then as a company facing financial, and the next one is proceeding, acting with confidence, because it is very important to take action. All that we are doing for what? You need to be taking that action, right? Otherwise, there is no question of you being agile. Agile means planning proactively and progressively taking action. If you don't take action, only planning is not going to be effective. So a company facing financial struggles, instead of panicking, the leaders can evaluate the options calmly and take calculated risk. Now, we're talking about a brain hack here. Okay. So the breathe, organize, and act strategy, that's going to be your right brain activity here. What you're going to do for this managing when you're taking high stake decision is use this hack. Breathe. Use deep and intentional breathing. Okay. To reduce stress hormones and create mental space for clearer thinking. And then organize. Break challenges into manageable parts. Prioritize urgency and impact a clear structured approach. And then act on it. Execute your plan with focus while remaining aware of your emotional state throughout. So this technique is going to help you overcome the overwhelming factor while enabling decisive leadership in challenging circumstances. Because when you cannot decide as a leader, you are not a leader. Okay. Now comes a situation where crisis management happens, and sometimes you need to be also a face of your company towards public. There could be adversities that you have to deal with them. How would you manage that situation? Before crisis, during crisis, and after crisis. So before crisis, you're going to practice mindful breathing to create yourself, just release and just gather yourself really well. During crisis, remain composed when addressing stakeholders. And then after crisis, reflect on lessons learned and communicate next step, because we're all human beings. As a normal human being, it's okay. But when you're put to task, when you're faced with challenges, you might see a different version of yourself. You may not be, fulfilled with that. So there could be areas of improvement. Whether you are a leader or an employee or a normal person, there are a lot of areas to improve. And especially during crisis management, it is important to reflect back the past mistakes to be able to correct it for the future. So leader remaining composed when addressing the media after company crisis instills the confidence in the stakeholders. Now let's see how you will do it. You know how to, this is what is supposed to be done, but let's see the brain hack. Now, fact-based communication for calm assertiveness. It's very, very important. It is philosophically, you need to be calm. But then what enables you to be calm is you have to have the backup of your data. Only then you can be assertive. So that data can come from emotional data, that creative data, or it could be from the logical derivation. So focus on verifiable data either ways. Okay. Use specific observable facts instead of emotional language to shift conversations from reactive to constructive. The key words are using a verifiable data point, because that's what is going to talk at the end of the day. Okay. Instead of using emotional language, of course, when you are in adversity, people can, rip you apart with different kind of questions. But then use that kind of a right language instead of reacting to those emotional words. Use those assertive words coming from your logical derivation, turning that reactive situation to constructive situation. Structure your message also. Present information in a logical sequence, situation, complication, resolution to create clarity. If you're straight away starting with maybe solution also, there may be questions as to why the solution, what is the need, where are the stakeholders, who is it related to. Now what if you start with complications? Again there will be piled up questions. But then if you can start with situation, okay, acknowledging the situation, and then be able to compile with the data point, and then finishing with a call to action as a resolution, and be able to follow through, that is also important. So maintain that neutral delivery, very, very important. Monitor your tone, your pace, your body language to project that calm confidence even under pressure. I just want to know at this point of time, how are you relating to this? Do you think it's, will any of these brain hack can be put in use? If you're a leader, uh, tell me one good brain hack that you can put it in use. Whatever, we have been seeing through so far, which one of it would you like to use more? Maybe it could be a left brain hack or a right brain hack, and it could be a mid brain hack also. I've got two more hack to complete as well. So I would like you to comment in the chat. And then comes a situation where inspiring and motivating your teams, right? That time, how would you do it? Because a lot of people, especially leaders, they are very private people, right? They just cannot come out and radiantly just compliment. right? Because for them also receiving compliment could be, nobody dislike it, but they don't know how to receive it. So leaders could be very closed people, but it is important to be out there to be inspiring and motivating your teams. That kind of charm leadership is what is going to win the hearts of your people. A lot of examples we have seen in our case studies from the beginning, how charmingly the leaders were able to get things done with their team members, right? There could be a lot of people, as an example, a lot of leaders, political leaders or industry leaders. We have spoken good amount of people as a case study. So go through any of these episodes to get some insights. But over here, as a process, what are you going to do is recognition, pricing employees genuinely, okay, for their work, and supporting teams members through challenges as an encouragement, and empowering them, trust them, let them do. You take a step back and observe. Even as a parent, that's what we are supposed to do. Not everything we are going to spoon feed them. How will they grow? As a leader, it's very important. As a parent, you are a leader by yourself, right? Ask them to do it. You just be there to guide. You just be there at their back. They want to know that whether you are there at their back. That trust is important to be inspiring. And then build that connection. Create supportive work culture. Very, very important, right? So you're going to acknowledge their efforts and create supportive network environment. So the hack for you to do so, it's going to be a both the brain activity. Okay, you got to use your logical brain as well as your emotional brain. So you're going to first recognize and encourage them. Genuinely praise employees for their achievements to build resilience and motivation during challenging periods. It's not only for the outcomes, it also for the trial. They're taking their efforts, right? You're going to genuinely, prize their efforts first, and then the outcomes. If not, at least encourage them for the next turn. Then you're going to apply your left brain style, like creating that structured recognition systems. If you are a person who just cannot openly do it, at least create a structure towards it. So if you can adhere a structure, it is easy for you to also, go through that. So you can ensure consistent acknowledgement of team contributions from yourself first. So when you are a person, when you have some resistance, it's always better to take the structured approach. When you have a policy, whether you like it or not, you're going to adhere to it. Similarly, you structure a program so that everybody will fall into place, everybody will follow through. And then your right brain approach could be foster authentic emotional connections through personalized encouragement that acknowledge individual challenges and growth. So while you're devising that recognition program, have that personal touch. It could be via a letter or an email, just an email. It should not be a template, right? So everybody is used to templates now. Even personal messages or only templates like Diwali messages or any occasional message. Even happy birthday is like more of a template driven. Have that personal touch. Just 2, 3 words is still good enough. Gone are those days where we will keep talking on phone, just call them up personally, wish them, and all those. Gone are those days. Well, nowadays, it's just a message sharing. So have that personalized touch wherever you can, especially with family, with employees, with your close to teams. When leaders can balance structured recognition with genuine emotional support, they can create psychological safety that helps teams to navigate uncertainty with confidence. Now, managing change and uncertainty, adapting and thriving is equally important for you to be, adapting to any kind of, just a second, adapting to any kind of scenarios. So one is strategic planning, preparing for multiple scenarios, and then clear communication. Keep teams informed about what you're doing, why you're doing. And then emotional stability. Staying calm during transition is equally important. Because you as a leader, when you transition to somebody, to either it could be pivoting to some other new model, business models, or new technology, or within, cross-functional projects, a new initiative, you need to be able to transitioning smoothly so that you can clearly communicate what your team members are supposed to be doing. So this is how you manage the uncertainty as well. When you have a structure, when you have a clear pathway, you need to, when you are dealing with uncertainty, nothing is going to be structured. You're going to be creating it. Okay, let's see a brain hack to it. Now, for this, the adapt and thrive mindset, what you're going to do is recognize change as an opportunity. Okay, so the midbrain regulates emotional responses to uncertainty, determining whether we perceive change as threatening or energizing. So leaders who master this brain region can transform from anxiety to innovative momentum. Wow. So how do you do this? First, recognize change as an opportunity. Change that mindset, change that vocabulary. When facing restructuring or market shifts, there could be a lot of mergers and acquisition happens within a company. At that point of time, the entire employees, the entire departments with both these companies will go through a restructure. It could be definitely a change for everybody, and it could be disturbing, right? Disturbing the routine at least. There could be a long-term benefits, but at least at that point of time, it is something that they have to adapt. So at that point of time, consciously identify three specific benefits these changes could bring to your team or organization. So this is going to activate reward centers in the midbrain and reduces the resistance, enhancing the creative problem solving, right? So in case you are watching this live, just type in the comment box like which one of the brain hack is actually can be relatable to your leadership roles. You could be a leader as a business person or as a parent or as a, workplace, any kind of a leadership role that you are uh, in the workplace. So you could also be a student who is leading some clubs where you have to lead a team of people. At that point of time, what brain hack will you use it more? Each and every brain hack, there are, bullet points, right? So every bullet points could be one brain hack that you can use it. And then you're going to cultivate flexible thinking also. During strategic planning sessions, you're going to deliberate generating multiple contingency plans rather than committing to a single approach. Now, as a parent, we always are natural, especially when you have a toddler, we are natural to have an alternate plans. We are so pro in it, right? We naturally have it because it's very important. If the nanny is doesn't coming, it's not going. She's not going to come. We'll know exactly how to manage the toddler at home. Okay, so making alternative contingency plan is a is something very agile for an individual. Okay, as a parent, we are leaders, so we do that. And in the workplace, it is even more important. So it is very important to chart out the contingency for business continuity. Very, very important. So rather than committing to one single land approach, when you have multiple approach, it's easier for your employees to also seamlessly transition. So this is going to strengthen neural connectivity between analytical and creative brain regions as well, improving adaptability during unexpected challenges. We know, as a parent, we know when you can flexibly jump through different options, we know exactly that, we were working against a normal crisis and then solution oriented. We're not creating problems, right? So Gayatri says breathe, organize, act strategy is one strategy that she's going to, one hack she's going to use. Beautiful strategy. Wonderful, Gayatri. Thank you for engaging. And then we're also going to see embracing protective discomfort. So just today I saw a reel where, Jeff Bezos was asked when he conducts leadership meetings, right? In Amazon. One of my close friends have worked in Amazon and, he was just sharing this. So when managers and leaders, quite a few managers and leaders, when they get to meet Jeff Bezos, I'm talking about 7 years, 8 years back. So he always says that, he says, what are you afraid of? Somebody asks him, and then he answers saying, I'm afraid of, at that point of time, Amazon is already huge. Okay. They have just transitioned to computing services. That is the second line of business they were pivoting. And there's a huge lot of, it's an unknown zone and it is a uncertainty for the business itself. They did not even see the profit yet. So that point of time, Jeff Bezos answers saying, I'm scared that I will lose, uh, the me being in the spot of being discomfort. I will lose the attitude of asking questions, or I will lose people who stop asking me questions because we are so tied up with socially, we are so socially cohesive that we want to find ourselves feeling okay. I'm doing right. That kind of feedback only we kind of approach and we receive it. We don't want to go beyond that and ask them, what is the real area of improvement that I need to improve? So that is something that he always wants his customers to, his team members and his leaders to come up with. So making themselves discomfort is an attitude for an entrepreneur, for a leader to always have, to be able to progressively be in their business, any line of business. And that is what is emotionally, being agile also. So who would want, initiative voluntarily, who would want to be discomfort? So that is a quality that a person like Jeff Bezos can do it. That is why he's successful. He's making the entire earth, Amazon being the best company on the earth, customer centric, and they do stand with what they say. So this particular technique used successfully by all leaders during economic turndowns and reducing that cortisol production while maintaining engagement and performance. So during the crisis, panic, the nervous system creates cortisol. That's a stress hormone. So it is very important to reduce that and have it, optimal. When it goes high, the person is going to have an outburst. Okay. So final few things, emotional agility in action. Okay. If you want to put across all the brain hacks and have your emotional agility in action, you're going to have a quick checkpoints. When there is a situation when team failed, your reactive approach is going to be blame and criticism. And what you want to do when you're emotionally agile is to learn and improve focus. When there is a market downturn, you generally panic and hasty cuts when you are a reactive person, reactive leader. And when you are an emotionally agile person, you're going to assess and adapt strategically. When you are an employee conflict, you're going to avoid or take sides. But when you're an emotionally agile leader, you're going to mediate with fairness and clarity. Okay. So with this, a case study is, we're going to see about Jacinda Ardern. She was a former New Zealand Prime Minister who demonstrated exceptionally well during COVID times. I thought that's more important, especially as a woman. And we are celebrating this entire month for womanhood. So even though it's very new personality that I was doing a case study on, I wanted to bring it her on because of the some achievements, very critical achievements, especially during the COVID times, where the entire world was going through downturns. And as a political leader, and she has to be responsible for the entire country, administering the entire country as a woman, as a family person, and also facing the public adversities, is very, very important how they handle themselves. Okay. So when I was going through her case study, I could understand that her left brain skills, rational crisis management, and strategic planning during national emergencies was the first thing that you can expect for any leadership role, especially as a woman, understanding emotional outburst within themselves as a 40-year mid-aged women going through what happens biologically and also family oriented, and how are they putting up their show, right? So anybody who is running that level of critical roles, they would definitely go, outburst, right? But it is so beautiful to see how this left brain and right brain is activated in such criticality in a person like her. And her right brain skills, empathy driven leadership, authentic public communication during crisis. Because unless you are integrity driven, unless you are that kind of emotionally well-being oriented person, you won't be having a connection made even despite of any crisis. You won't take that step up. You just want to shut off because the entire world is shutting off, and this is what it is as per policy and all that. But it takes immense courage and authentic leadership for somebody to go out there to communicate the right way to their employees. Okay. So that's what she did. And some top brain talents that she demonstrated could be resilience, because managing global crisis while maintaining the public trust is equally important. Okay. Adaptability, adjusting to policy, responding effectively to changing events, and empathy, connected authentically with citizens during difficult times at that point of time. Okay. Clarity, communicated complex information in accessible ways. So her ability to stay calm, communicate with empathy, making logical decisions had gained her global respect and acceptance. So at this point of time, if you have questions like where do you stand? what level of composure do you hold? Do you stay composed when handling workplace conflicts, or what amount of separation that you will do with your emotions and the logical data when under pressure, especially when you're deciding something? And how well do you adapt to changes like that? And how do you communicate with your audience confidence and with some empathetic attitude in you? More so there could be more questions like this, because it comes from that when there is a crisis, people behave differently. That's where that emotions surface from nowhere. It could be the right kind of emotions, or it could be that negative emotions which we think we want to not have it at all, but somewhere it will get outburst. That is only because we have not been aware of what is happening inside us, right? So there is a self-assessment questionnaire that I have for you, especially for this episode. If you're interested, all you have to do is, people like Gayatri and people who are watching me, I've already engaged, right? If you can just share with me top three insights that you gained from this episode, I'm going to give you guys uh, a questionnaire not only for this episode, because this is a self-assessment, right? I would definitely like to know, where do I stand when it comes to emotional agility in my role? Like this, I've got assessment for all the episodes I've done, and I've clubbed everything as a quiz bundles. So this is coming out like a EQ quiz bundle for you, lifetime access, as many as times that you can take. Maybe right now you're taking up for emotional agility and you're working on it, and 6 months later you want to check on your emotional agility again. You can take it again, because every question will have a right answer, and along with that options that you have. So every question you will get to know what kind of options that you can exercise during that kind of a situation. It's going to be a awareness, extra awareness tips that you can gain from the questionnaire itself. Similarly, for every episode, you are going to get that kind of questionnaire. Imagine, it's going to be a treasure. So I'm going to give you a lifetime access if you can engage with me in the comments below. I'll pick up an email ID for you, and then I will give it to you. And the link for you to apply for this quiz bundles is given in the description. Okay. Register yourself there, and you will get to know, the moment I saw you engaging in this episode, you are getting this for 100% free of cost. I don't want you to pay when you register there. It'll ask you for a payment. Don't pay yet. And come back to me with your engagement, and I'm going to give it to you free of cost. Along with that, I have an additional gift for somebody who's wanting to build their emotional agility. There's also 21 days program, and there is a brain skills workshop conducted for the entire month, exclusive for women. So you can choose what you want to use, and all the links are given in the description below. Okay. So once you finish this episode, give me some time to just work on the back end, and you will figure out what are the links given there, opt for it, and make use of it. Because at the end of the day, the journey for you to become emotionally agile, or emotionally insightful, or proactivity, or problem solving skills, any skills that we have been discussing, it's going to take some time. It's not an overnight activity. The best thing what you do is, immediately right after this, 24 hours within which you just work on that one brain hack that you want to work. Just see the results for yourself. Okay. And continue to do so for next 7 days. Then it is already imbibed in you. If you can do this activity for next 24 hours and continue to do so for next 7 days, you are slowly rewiring your brain, because there is a journey, not just for emotional agility, it is also for other components that you're discussing. Okay. So ultimately, I want to leave you with some key takeaways. Recognizing emotional agility is an essential part of effective leadership. And you want to practice it, because developing those skills through consistent self reflection is what is going to help you give those mindful responses. And model that, lead by example to create emotionally intelligent teams as well. But for which you need to be emotionally intelligent. Make use of these brain skills, brain hacks. Grow your journey, like with your resources, with our resources. In fact, I'm giving you a lot of other free resources. As I already said, if you haven't still subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so, so that you will be notified for future episodes. And there is also another series, I'm doing it for business development. Hang in there. I'm doing this entire series in podcast on Spotify. Subscribe to do so. And there is an Instagram lives that we are doing within, empowering women who are not just empowered themselves or also empowering other women. They are also giving a lot of gifts. So the entire month we are going to be having that. So subscribe to my Instagram channel. You will find other resources. And of course, there are free resources available on my blog page and the LinkedIn. So subscribe to all those and make use of this, because at the end of the day, it's not just about that information, because we are overloaded with information. It is about action which makes you agile. Remember that. And because we are talking about emotional agility, you got to make sure that you're taking an input of both your brain together, not discarding your emotional brain, neither your logical brain. Have a blend of both these data and to be able to take action on it. One step, one small step. That's what is going to determine your success. And consistently take that small step. Okay. Until I see you in the next episode, take care. Take that small, manageable step today to become emotionally agile.